right, let's get into some of the hand position details from Uechi-Ryu Karate. And we're going to start with, obviously, Sanchin strike. A Sanchin strike is a flat-handed strike. And the way I like to teach it is to think about keeping your palm flat, putting your thumb against the side of your hand, and then pulling it as far back as you possibly can. I'm trying to take this thumb knuckle and make it touch my elbow. Now, of course, that's impossible, but that's what I'm thinking of. I'm pulling it back like that. When you do that, it tightens the center of your hand. It naturally draws the fingers together strongly and makes a nice, stable strike. And when you hit with it, if you hit with the fingertips, it'll actually do something. After a number of years of practice with this, I've actually broken boards with this strike, thin ones, but don't tell anybody. So yeah, boom, that's a Sanchin arm strike. Cool. Next, let's get into one of the next ones you learn in Uechi-Ryu would be a seiken, which in Japanese means proper fist. A proper fist is something you're going to use a lot in our kumites and bunkais, and it only shows up in Kunshiwa kata. From here, roll tightly, and then roll again, and wrap your thumb around the top like this. That tends to align your wrist, keep it nice and flat. I'm focused on these two knuckles. If I were to hit something, I'd be hitting it with those two knuckles. This is a seiken fist, and that's how to do that properly. Things to do wrong here, what you never want to do is have your thumb on the inside of it. Some beginners will do this, and if you do this, what happens is if you don't hit just right, you can kind of really injure your thumb by pulling against this joint. So we don't want to do a wrapped thumb fist. An alternate to this is going to seem strange, but another way to do this is to wrap it with this finger extended. This is an advanced technique. You see this on Okinawa. Some people find this very awkward and uncomfortable. It depends very much upon the distance of the length of your fingers versus the length of your hand. I personally like this extended finger position because it allows me to get my forefinger out of the way. This is something that takes a lot of practice to get used to. Once you do, you might like it, but for now, seiken, no thumb inside, and the alternative is this. Related to a seiken is a shoken. Shou, meaning first, is the extension of your first knuckle into a point. This is the classic way of doing it. Part of the reason that you do fists like this is to stretch the thumb out. You'll notice the kind of odd position of my thumb. And once I unroll this, you'll see that my thumb is pretty much in the same position I talked about for Sanchin arm strike. One of the reasons we do a shoken this way is to get the thumb flexible enough to do a proper Sanchin arm strike. If I were to actually strike somebody with this, I would use an alternative method of putting this up on top of there. This is plenty strong enough, it doesn't collapse, and it doesn't hurt me when I hit people. This is a shoken. Okay, next, let's do a bushi-ken. Bushi, yari or yubi is finger, and bushi is thumb. Bushi-ken literally means thumb knuckle. What I'm going to do is take my thumb and put it as far across my palm as possible so that my thumb knuckle, this first knuckle of my thumb, is on my palm. And that's the striking surface. We're going to actually hit with that thumb knuckle. This is another one. This position is not comfortable. I find kids don't have a problem with this because they're pretty flexible, but adults sometimes find this a difficult position to create at first. That's okay, because the Okinawans have brilliantly given us a tool to stretch our thumb out, and that's this position. Looks like a cat's paw. This is a haira-ken. Haira in Japanese means flat, ken is fist. A flattened fist with your thumb here. Practicing like this, especially in kata and opening exercises, will stretch and strengthen your thumb and get it into that position. This is another one. If I were actually to strike with those four knuckles, I would put my thumb there and not have it impacted. But for kata, I do it that way, so I get that great stretch that allows me to do a bushi-ken. The last one I want to show you, really simple, from that same Sanchin arm strike position, striking with basically the side of your palm near its heel. Here is a bone in here called the pisiform, which means shape of a P. As close to that pisiform bone as possible, that is shuto, or knife hand. That's another good one. Yeah, shuto. And if you strike with palm up this way, when you do it this way, it's a Sanchin arm strike. When you do it this way, it's called a nukate, which means spear hand, using your hand like a spear. So practice those. We've got some more coming up on more advanced katas later, but that's the basics. It'll get you through your first 3 katas. Practice.